Hello, everyone. In case you haven't heard yet, Facebook had allegedly defrauded a whole bunch of customers in regard to advertising space. So, a federal judge recently just authorized a class action lawsuit for anyone who purchased advertisement on Facebook from 2014 and on, alleging that Facebook lied and defrauded their customers, about the extent of which they claimed advertisement from them would generate 400% more than what was actually the case.
Robert, what about Facebook? Okay, so for those who don't know, this is a funny thing. I'm reading the articles on it. I didn't read the actual authorization for class action. But bottom line, there is a federal judge who authorized a class action against Facebook, which I won't say, I don't know, maybe you'll tell me that it's actually correct. It runs the risk of putting Facebook out of business. It authorizes a class action, and I presume it's of anyone who advertised on Facebook as of 2014 on the basis that Facebook knowingly lied about the reach of videos, the impact, the broad scope, or the reach of their videos, the impact for which they were charging for advertising. They were saying our videos will get X amount, and they were overestimating it and dishonestly misrepresenting it by 400%. This judge says we're certifying the class action. The class is, from what I understand, anybody who's advertised on Facebook since 2014. Tell me if I'm wrong, Robert, but I think that might include me for whatever the reason, but maybe not in this specific demographic.
The one, yeah, I mean, it would include political people potentially too. I mean, there were a lot of political campaigns that relied upon that data and information that were lied to systematically and systemically by Facebook. I had seen this, and I was helping my little sister's business. She and her husband owned a restaurant here in Las Vegas called Tennis Seasonings. They're both great cooks. He makes great ribs, barbecue, a whole bunch of stuff, chicken, it's fantastic, smoked turkey. And my little sister's always been, she's the only one in the family that can't cook. Nobody else. Well, probably some other people in my family might be watching, but sorry, that's just true. She can really cook. None of the rest of us can. I know I can. I didn't realize you don't put 4 quarts of water into a 4-quart pot until the kitchen was on fire. Then I understood why they put the fire extinguisher in the kitchen. But she can really cook. And so they had a great little restaurant, and I was using Facebook for its advertising, and I didn't understand why it wasn't translating the way it should have been. Other methods of marketing worked much better than Facebook did. And now I know why. It's because Facebook was lying. Facebook was falsifying the data, which makes perfect sense now because it never got anywhere near the reactions that it should have, that with other advertising metrics, it did reach. And so I think the thing is, this is a massive, massive amount of money. This is Facebook's primary means of making money. And it appears they were lying to everybody, and not just lying like a little bit. They were saying you were going to get triple, quadruple, quintuple the number of people you actually were going to get. They were counting multiple accounts as multiple people, even if they knew it was the same account or wasn't even an individual's account. I mean, it was just massive deception over an extensive time period. The primary vulnerable people who got hit by it were small businesses who relied upon it as a way to do it. So Facebook lied to them, helped bankrupt a good number of them. And I think that this is a suit that would be in the hundreds of billions of dollars and could be a bankrupting suit of Facebook, given the scale and scope to which they lied, while Zuckerberg and his allies are facing criminal investigations in Wisconsin for all their illegal actions in the election. So it's but this goes right to the core of Facebook's entire economic model, and it turns out their whole economic model was on a fraud.
And people have to appreciate. Well, first of all, I think the scope of it is anyone who advertised as of 2014, and people thinking that is their revenue. That's the revenue for the last, let's just say, 8 years. That's at issue, and it's true. Like, I only used Facebook advertising, a half dozen times to promote videos till I realized it was useless. I used it when I was running for office, federal office, which I lost miserably. But Facebook, as far as advertising goes, it's much cheaper than Google, as far as on its face goes. Trying to think of what the comparative is. I can't think of another comparative. It's cheaper than Google in terms of AdWords. You get these graphs. It says, oh yeah, you reached 30,000 people. It was reaching. If it turns out to be bullshit, a lot of people are going to have a lot of small claims. But yeah,
when they said you reached 30,000, it was often as low as 300 people. I mean, that was the scale of the lie. And so that's why, they were charging a little bit cheaper than a lot of their competitors. It turns out because they were exaggerating what you were paying for.
It's I'm just saying, there's no question. So it's only at the stage of the certification. The only thing I noticed, Robert, is that the judge in the file who granted the certification is the same one who approved the $650 million class action settlement in the biometrics case. So I forget what his name is. It doesn't matter.
Was skeptical of Facebook, and he said some things about Facebook and granting the class certification that suggests that he thinks Facebook clearly defrauded people systematically.
What could this all mean if the plaintiffs do win this settlement? This could be the end of Facebook, and imagine that, one of the biggest social media outlets in the world, known for its cancel culture and canceling of people, get canceled themselves. I would think justice was served. Let me know in the comments what you think.